Yo guys, it's Mike from Chess Lifestyle, and today we are training another 45 minutes of chess. And yeah, it's another late night grind for me. I had a really busy day, and actually I feel like regarding my to-do list, I'm like almost on schedule. So if I have like a productive day tomorrow, then I think there's a good chance um, I'll be a bit more free again. But yeah, fingers crossed that I get a lot done tomorrow. And actually, I am teaching from 7 a.m. tomorrow. I never wake up this early for lessons, but it was kind of the only time that we could both make work. So yeah, so I'm gonna be up early. So let's just do some woodpecker and call it a night. I think my creative juices are not bad today for like reading a book and stuff like this, right? So yeah, let's just do some grind. So actually, before we get to grinding, also welcome Josh, welcome Arjun to the stream. Hope you guys are doing well. Yeah, my day's been good though. My day's been good. Like just a lot of sorting out stuff. Good news is actually I've been in touch with Chessable about a second course. I'm not sure how much I can disclose right now, but I need to I need to chase and follow this up. So hopefully I'll get it all done tomorrow. Um, but yeah, I wanted to read out Frizz's advice in my little book that I keep some like chess advice. So before we do the tactics, let's read Frizz's advice. So Frizz, after the long discussion yesterday, and for anyone who didn't join that discussion, I'm probably going to try and just edit that whole debate and conversation into a video because I think it was really instructive. But one of the points was number one, when calculating, calculate as many short variations as possible quickly before any deep dive into any one line. And number two was really aim to calculate the forcing line starting with checks, even if the lines don't intuitively feel right. If the line even remotely causes potential problems for the opponent, the line should be considered. And in the force sequences, really look hard at moves that either forcefully bring in attackers or forcefully remove defenders. And if I could do all these three things, then maybe these tactics are gonna go better. So we're gonna try this. See if I can even remember to do all of these things. I'll keep referring to this checklist and see if I can stick to it. Let me see if I can even remember all of them. Wait a sec. Can't. For God's sake. Okay, that took way longer. You know how like pens have a little like latch on them to like clip onto things? I was trying to clip onto this book, so I keep the page open. Okay, I'll keep trying to refer to it. So okay, let me go through them one more time. One is calculate more short variations before delving into like one line in depth. Second one was really calculate the forcing moves. And the third one was calculate ways that I can force bring in attackers and force removing defenders. So okay, let's start with this. So I'll try and speak out loud for these and see if we can correct my process. Okay, so quick evaluation. We're a pawn up. We have knight for bishop. We have some pressure on the pieces. So rook takes d1 is going to be one option. Maybe queen takes f2 is going to be another. Rook takes f2 could potentially be another. Knight f3 is a check. Doesn't make any intuitive sense, but it's a check. Has to be checked. Maybe queen takes a1 is forcing. Any other forcing moves that can even cause the opponent some damage, some concern. Maybe like some rook c8. Maybe this could somehow disrupt their pieces. Okay, so let's start with the most forcing. Let's look at the checks. So if knight f3 check, bishop takes f3, literally nothing there. Right? Yeah. So okay. If queen takes f2 check, I guess rook takes f2, rook takes d1, queen takes d1, rook takes d1, rook takes d1. I'm just masses of material down. If rook f2, don't really see it, just rook takes f2. Unless rook f2, and there's like some knight g4 or knight d3. Maybe knight d3 looks interesting, hits the queen as well. Actually, does that work? Rook takes f2, rook takes f2, knight d3. If a move like queen d2 or something, then I could just go... No, queen takes f2, queen takes f2, knight takes f2, king takes f2, and I'm just a piece down. Yeah, it's just not working. So I wonder if this method is even faster than just trying to intuitively find it, but I guess it's a bit more thorough, right? Queen takes a1, queen takes a1. What's the point? So what, is it rook c8? Rook c8, there's either queen a3 or queen b1. Again, not really getting the point. So okay, where have I gone wrong? I need first to tell me what on earth I did wrong, because I've just literally done all of that. Looked at my forcing moves, literally haven't got anywhere. Like what am I missing? It's like trying to get into the mentality that there's a winning move here, but just because, you know, I'm being told there's a winning move doesn't mean I can see it, right? And I know I'm suddenly getting negative about this again, but it's just like, come on, like, what do I need to look at still? I'm looking at switching the move, or like rook takes d1, and then knight f3 now. Like if that does something, or something like this. Maybe I need to think more in terms of Argad's like candidate ideas, right? Do I have any ideas in this position? I mean, somehow I want to make like some knight f3 check work, or even like a knight d3 like fork tactic. But even like, let's say this rook takes f2, even queen f2, king f2, knight d3 check. Pick up the queen, I'm still a piece down. Knight d... rook takes f2, knight d3, queen d2. Maybe I've got knight takes f2 there. Because if queen takes f2, then I can go queen takes d1, rook d1, queen f1, take, and I'm winning in the endgame. So rook f2, knight d3, queen d2, knight takes f2. They could also play queen takes d4, and then I'm lost. But we're getting somewhere. So rook f2, knight d3, queen d2. I'm gonna make a note of something. I realize my time is running out, but something interesting just crossed my mind that I might try and sort out tomorrow. Yeah, I really don't have a move. I really don't have a move here. Maybe I need to look at more forcing moves within a variation, but I'm literally running out of time. I don't know, I'm just gonna go with my gut. Okay, so somehow it's rook f2. I don't really know why. So if knight d3, queen d2. I've just sacked my rook, it's correct, and I literally don't even have a good reason. So okay, forcing moves. Let's try and look at more forcing moves. So what? I've got queen f2, king f2, knight d3, queen f2, king f2. I didn't see any other moves. Knight d3 doesn't do anything. So what? What else can we do? Queen takes d1, queen d1, rook d1, rook d1. I'm just down 2 rooks for a knight. Knight d3 versus queen d2. I can go knight takes f2, but then they just take on d4. Rook d4, king f2, and I'm lost. Knight d3, queen d2, queen f2. Queen f2, knight f2, king f2, there's just nothing. Knight g4 maybe could be a move, but even just bishop takes g4, I don't see the point. Am I blind? Oh, I am blind. Knight d3, queen d2, just take the rook on a1. I hate tactics. It's like, how can you not be negative about this stuff? It's just it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating to not be able to see. Oh man, life is tough. So knight d3 probably then just wins. So okay, what else can white do after knight d3? So if queen d2, I just take on a1. And I just have 2 pawns up, so that looks really good. So knight d3, queen d2 is not working. So knight d3, what else can be played? Well, the thing is the queen is attacked. Ah, that's just it. That's just it. Man, it took me so long to see this. I didn't even see it in the exercise. Ah, it's just a free rook, man. It's just a free rook. Okay, so let's see what everyone in chat is saying. This is so funny. Oh my god, there's so many messages. Of course, middle game, end game calculation. Huh? We're just doing woodpecker today. No Argard. No Argard. 5.5 overall. Fantastic, Sapsara. I already gave you my congrats. I'm not like dismissive of Sapsara's achievements, in case anyone thinks that. We've already had a chat about it today. Yeah, rook f2, knight d3. Queen can't defend both rooks. Literally that. Literally just that. Man. I guess if you don't see that there's a free rook, then what to do, man? What do you mean running out of time? Don't you have 36 minutes? Ah, okay, at the bottom of the board, I don't know if you guys can see. I think my screen cuts it off. But like underneath the board, there's like a bar, and then if you don't solve the exercise within like the 1 minute or 2 minutes or whatever, it will just give the answer. So you do have to answer it within a certain amount of time. At a glance, rook f2, knight d3, and take the free rook. I mean, how do you see the free rook? It's like, for God's sake. Okay, let's try again. Let's try again. Okay, so what's going on in this position? So we're a pawn down, I believe. His king's in the center. It's a little bit exposed. We've got a strong knight on g4. We've got this battery of the bishop and queen. Maybe we can somehow overload their pieces and take on c4 at some point with the knight, something like this. So okay, lots of short forcing moves. So okay, we've got like bishop g3 check, got rook takes e2 check, maybe knight f2 to lure the king out. Anything else that can somehow disturb the opponent's piece? Maybe knight takes h2. Maybe bishop f5 even. Okay, so let's start with what feels most correct. Without delving too deep, let's just try and calculate it a short while. Bishop g3, we're bringing in attackers, right? So bishop g3, they don't have to take, but if they take, pawn takes g3, queen takes g3 check. They can't go f1 because of queen f2. If they go d1 or d2, what happens there? So if they go d1, I can play knight f2 check and win the house. So king d2 is forced, so that's promising. So bishop g3, pawn g3, queen g3, king d2. In this position, I mean, the only forcing moves I can see are like queen f4 check and rook takes e2. Both of which I don't see a clean continuation. So okay, maybe I shouldn't go deeper than that. Maybe I should just say like, okay, it's promising it makes king d2, but I don't see a win. So what else did I have here? I had this bishop takes h2. But knight takes h2. I mean, am I really gonna, you know... Or, I mean, if I'm gonna try and win a pawn, then knight takes h2 immediately looks better, right? Knight h2, knight h2, bishop h2. And I guess his king is still weak. As a last resort, maybe knight h2 is a decent move. I mean, I'm not sure how I feel about opening the file onto my king, but, you know, the pawn's on h6. I don't think they're gonna checkmate me or something. Knight h2 might just be a decent move. Rook takes e2 as a check. Rook e2. I don't know, maybe they play like knight e2 or queen e2 or something. I don't know, maybe this bishop f5, because if queen takes f5, rook takes e2, but then you can still take knight takes e2. Like, you're not exposing the king that much. So again, Frizz, what am I doing wrong? So at this moment, let me look at these pointers, right? So I'm calculating the short variations, trying to go as quickly as I can, trying not to go too deep into one particular line. I'm trying to look at the forcing moves, and I'm trying to look for moves that cause potential problems. I'm trying to bring in attackers. Are there any ways I can remove defenders? I've tried with bishop f5. I don't know. Nothing jumps out immediately. So probably to me, like, you know, I would need to resort back to my old methods of just, I don't know, trusting my gut a bit more, feeling this bishop g3, pawn g3, queen g3, king d2, and then trying to work harder to find something here. Because it feels like, you know, if that's forced, then there's something promising here, right? I mean, otherwise I just play knight takes h2 and win the pawn and be like, okay, I've won a pawn. And then his position's still looking really weak. I mean, probably I just play that, right? Like, unless bishop g3 is winning, pawn takes queen takes king d2. I really don't see what to do. Queen f4 check, king c2. Don't see a follow-up. Okay, so let's see what chat is saying. Maybe I can work out some logic from what you guys are saying. Oh, my Chessable course, right? What is it on? I need to check the contract that I'm signing and then see if there's anything about like how much I can reveal. So I will definitely answer all these questions about it soon. But yeah, not sure I can say anything just yet, Arjun. What should I play against Nina Pat? I don't know. Nina, I know she's a good player. I've never played her. Actually, I was supposed to play her, I think, round 1 of like a blitz. And she didn't show up. So got a default win. Maybe your visualization is just lacking. I don't know how to get rid of that problem. Yeah. Maybe. Like, I think I'm just also not like looking for that free rook. Like, it just looks like it's in the wrong aspect of the board, and I'm just not looking there. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like I can visualize what I'm looking at, but if I'm not looking, then I can't visualize what I'm not looking at, right? But yeah, maybe I just need to see the whole board. Maybe I need to like shrink the board and make it smaller and so I can see the whole board in one go. I don't even know. Honestly, I'm gonna lock in knight h2. Yeah, I don't see how bishop g3 wins. I really don't see it. So after king d2, knight fork at the end. Are you kidding me? There's not a knight fork in that position. Bishop g3, pawn g3, queen takes g3, king d2. What do you mean a knight fork? King d1, I agree, there's a knight fork, but king d2? Oh, no, that doesn't work. Just knight f2, it's not a fork on the king. See, this actually is so cursed. It's actually so cursed. So maybe at this point, I'm looking at work too hard to make forcing moves happen, right? Because, you know, like after pawn takes, queen takes, king d2, knight f2 maybe is more of like a threat as opposed to like a check or a capture. But yeah, knight f2, I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know how to see tactics that I can't see. I mean, I guess through this practice, right? Like I've just got to keep at it. Yeah, absolutely cussed. Alright, so yeah, it is simply just a fork, which I couldn't see. Okay, so a free rook missed, a fork missed. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Man. What's your solution for poor visualization? I need it. You know, it's extremely hard mating 1, 2, or 3. Really? Interesting. I mean, I've always never seen the use in these like really abstract positions. Like if I'm gonna solve something a bit abstract, then an endgame study feels a bit more practical. You often read my messages wrong. I know how to get rid of that problem. I just answered Josh about it. Well, I don't know. I don't know if I agree that's gonna help me see a fork or a free rook, right? Like, man. I don't know. I don't know if there's a good analogy I can give to like, you know, put this frustration into words. It's so frustrating. But okay, let's keep trying. Let's keep trying, right? So what's this position? We're a pawn up, we have a knight for bishop. We have some kind of mate threat on g7 if not for the bishop, so maybe there's some like deflection kind of tactics we can use, like f4 or something. You know, our queen's attacked right now. So what options do we have? So what forcing moves do we have? We've got knight h6, we've got knight e7, we've got queen g7. We've also got knight takes g7, it's a capture. We then have these like maybe candidate ideas, right? There's f4, trying to deflect the bishop from the control of g7. Maybe we've even got rook d7, right? They're attacking our queen, maybe we attack their queen. Are there any more candidates we need to see? Probably just move the queen somewhere safe. Needs to be looked at. Let's look at all the squares of the queen. Anywhere useful in particular. Maybe queen a3 has some use, like controlling e7 in some weird way. Maybe even hitting the pawn on a7 if needed. Right, so where do we start? Okay, let's look at the forcing moves. If knight e7, queen e7 is nothing. Knight h6, check. So they can't take our queen, they can't take the knight, so that forces king h8 forced. And then maybe there's some connection with back rank checkmate. Maybe we could play knight takes f7, in the sense that maybe on rook takes there's like queen takes e5 or something, and if queen takes then rook d8 or something like this. But knight takes king h8, knight takes f7. If queen takes f7, I don't really know what we've got. If we take the bishop on e5, they go queen takes f2, and we're the one who gets mated. King h1, queen f1, rook f1, rook f1 mate. So knight h6, king h8. Maybe we can change the move order. Maybe we can play bishop takes e5, queen takes e5, knight takes f7 now. And if king g8, we pick up the queen and we're 2 pawns up. If king g8, yeah, so knight h6, king h8, queen e5, knight f7, rook takes f7, and then just rook d8, and that's mate. So actually in the start I did actually notice this back rank potential, but yeah, I didn't mention it. But okay, that's actually some forcing moves, and we found it, so thank God for that. 1 out of 3, let's go. Moving the queen somewhere safe is enforcing, yes, but it's a candidate move that has to be seen in a real game. Okay, like we have the you know, the comfort of these woodpecker exercises telling us that there is a win, right? But in a real game we don't. So even though these are just woodpecker methods and I can kind of shortcut in that way, like I've still got to be realistic. I don't think checking the safe moves is something that I should stop doing just for the sake of, I don't know, finessing like solving a puzzle, right? I think like ultimately this is to try and train to be stronger over the board chess, and this is an aspect of over the board chess that can't be avoided. So I think it's important. But okay, let's go again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4, 5. Okay, so material is equal. We've got a lot of pieces surrounding their king. Maybe we've got some room for some tactics. So okay, what candidates do we have? We've got knight a3 check. That's the only check. We've got a load of captures. We've got bishop takes a3. We've got queen takes c3. We've got rook takes b3. We've got knight takes b2. We've also got one more check on knight d2 check. I missed that check. So that's a check. Do we have any other ideas? Okay, we can also take on h6. Potentially. I mean, there's a queen on c1. Okay, so we've seen a lot of ideas. The rook on h1 is a bit of a curveball. Not sure what it's doing there. But okay, what feels right? So maybe the thing is like, knight takes a3 is the biggest disruption to white's position because it's a check. And also, if they take back with the pawn, somehow the queen on c3 is hanging, right? The knight on c3. So if knight takes a3, pawn takes a3, then queen takes c3 is possible. We win a pawn. Maybe this is something. Maybe this is useful. If knight takes a3 check and they move the king, it's almost definitely bad because we can move the knight with a discovered check. That has to be lost. Like knight takes c2, it's like really over. So knight takes a3. If pawn takes a3 and we just take on c3, are we happy with that material? Or can we do something better? Don't really see. I'm having a quick scan. Like, I know this was the point, right? I shouldn't delve deep into one line, but knight takes a3 looked really good, and I've just had a quick scan of all the other moves. Basically, nothing else looks like it kind of helps our position. It feels like any other move is kind of getting further away from like some kind of collapse. So to be honest, given how weak the king is and how we win a pawn, I think I'm happy. They take with the rook. I didn't even consider this. I mean, I think I didn't consider it because I just assumed that the rook is hanging, like, right? The bishop can take it, so why would that be possible? But of course, the point is our rook's hanging as well, right? So this is of course possible. So what? Did we just sack a knight? I can't even go back. I took nothing, right? Or I took a pawn. I think I took a pawn on a3. Knight takes a3, rook takes a3. So I'm a piece down. So if I take on b2, like rook takes b2, queen b2, that's not enough. Because I then sack a rook as well, so I only get 2 pawns for the piece. If I take on a3 with the bishop, they take on b5. And then I can take back on b5 and the pawn is pinned. So again, I've won a pawn. So at the very least I can win a pawn there. Is there anything better? I don't think so. I mean, I've looked at this, I've looked at this. I mean, queen takes, I've looked at this, I've looked at this, right? So if bishop takes is going to save me material, it's not. So rook takes b2, queen takes b2. After bishop takes a3, I deemed this was unacceptable because I'm a piece for 2 pawns down. I didn't calculate further than that. I mean, I thought just like queen b3 or something, and what have I achieved? The knight on h6. Oh. How do you keep track of this? I mean, I saw it at the beginning, right? But just not looking that far. Because yeah, now if bishop takes a3 and queen b3, yeah, I've got no more attack, but the point is I win the knight on h6. And then I'm actually just 2 pawns up. Sack the queen in the middle of a line is a move you would never have found a couple of weeks ago. Fair play for it. I mean, even I wouldn't have found this yesterday, right? Like, I think like this forcing move stuff is good. I just need more practice, I think, and this situation here with rook takes h6, like, for God's sake, it's so much aids, because like in this position, like it looks so wrong to play like this. It looks like I've just sacked the rook, win back my rook. I've already sacked a piece, and it looks like they've completely consolidated. And some random detail miles away. Like I think it's extra hard for me because I don't have these positions where I have a random piece hanging on the other side of a board. It's like this really doesn't happen. And I even have to deal with these kind of tactics. I really despise this kind of chess. It's really so messy. And I hate the fact that like one tiny detail can change everything. Like I really despise this. So what, king c7, queen g7. And what, I've got something here. I mean, I literally don't have any other move. Unless I'm going to sack, like, material, which makes absolutely no sense. So I have to play king c7. But I guess the point is they actually don't have time for this because I take here. And they actually don't have a way to defend. Crazy. Oh, they're just going to say that I can mate like this? Okay, whatever. I think it's completely winning either way. Wow, so actually in the game? Ah, okay, at least I played like Capablanca's opponent, right? So yeah, in this position the game continued bishop a3, knight b5, queen b5. Black is a pawn up, but showed that the h pawn is more important. How interesting. So Capablanca was actually cooked, but then Walter missed it. Interesting. But yeah, man. Yeah, tough stuff. I hate this kind of chess. Almost 30 minutes today. As in, like, it took me 30 minutes to say I hate this kind of chess. I mean, is that like a record? It might be. It might be. I mean, I honestly apologize that this has to be the content that I stream, but the point is if I don't stream this, then I'm never going to do it. And ultimately, if I want to not suck in the summer, I need to I need to put in this work, right? I'm basically working out for my summer gym bod. And yeah, this is the hard work that needs doing. So okay, let's try again. Right. So what's the situation like? 4, 5, 6, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we're pawn up, opposite color bishops. So you know, whoever's gonna be attacking is probably gonna be more promising here. What candidate moves do we have? Got queen takes h2, queen d4 check. Any other checks? No. Got queen takes c3, queen takes e4, queen takes f5, knight takes e4. Bishop takes f5. Bishop takes f5 looks quite promising, actually. Maybe we can open up this file somehow. Then in terms of threats, maybe, I don't know, d5 is one option. I don't really know. So, okay, let's go one by one. So queen h2 makes no sense. Queen d4 check. Let's say king h1. I mean, he's got alternatives there, but do we actually achieve something here? We don't have any follow-up checks, so I feel like queen d4... I don't know. I mean, queen d4, if king h1, maybe we can still play this knight takes e4, but kind of begs the question, why not just play knight takes e4 first? You know, if they play rook e2 or something, we can always bail out with like some queen d4 after, potentially. So, yeah, it feels like queen d4 doesn't really help. Knight e4, we win this pawn, we hit the bishop. Maybe also the knight is now controlling f2, so maybe there's potential for some queen d4 stuff that might be even stronger, but I'm also not so sure. Also, how strong is it really? Like knight e4, queen e4, rook e4, bishop f6? Looks a bit scary to me. So okay, what about this bishop f5, which looked intuitively like quite nice, right? Like if pawn takes, maybe there we can go queen e1 check, and on queen f1 I can take the knight on c3. So that looks good, right? So bishop f5. If pawn f5, yeah, I just bloody looked at that. So bishop f5, queen f5. Well, then I can just take the knight on c3. So okay, bishop f5 looks like it's winning a pawn. Do we have any other like forcing ideas? Bishop f5. They could try bishop f6, but I can always just play queen takes f6. I think bishop f5 is the answer. Looks really strong to me. I just take this knight. Let's go. Let's go. Some more fast calculation. I think what really helps actually is just, I mean, basically yesterday Frizz basically called me out for being slow, and I think this forces me just to be a bit faster. Like, I don't like using my brain this quickly, but ultimately I'm literally going to spend 20 minutes on these puzzles if I don't speed up. So it's kind of like encouraging a fat man to exercise. I kind of feel that. This is the kind of position I like. These kind of tactics. Interesting. Okay, nice Frizz and Argent for getting bishop takes f5. Good stuff. I'm surprised white has nothing in the final position, to be honest. Yeah. I guess, like, I don't know, the bishop is, like, getting back to control some squares as well. It makes sense to me. More Capablanca. Okay, so let me evaluate the position first before I see these weird woodpecker prompts. But I can already feel like I'm getting tired. So maybe it's like stamina as well, of like trying to think this fast and think this quickly. But okay, that's why we're doing it in training, right? Like to build up that stamina. So whether we actually, work this hard in the actual game in terms of like making sure we reserve energy for the whole game, that's a different matter. But for training, okay, we can go all out, right? It's important. So okay, what's going on here? So we have 5, 3. So we have 2 pawns up. There's a lot going on. Like our rook on e1 is being attacked by the bishop. But yeah, we're putting a lot of pressure on their pieces as well, especially with our queen. Their rook is pressuring f4. But we are 2 pawns up. So what does the prompt say? White already has 2 pawns, but black threatens bishop takes e1. And also rook d4. I didn't even see rook d4 as a motif. There is a solution to both of these threats. Okay. I honestly don't understand why woodpeckers sometimes give prompts and sometimes doesn't. Like, I don't see why, but okay. So okay, let's go with multiple forcing moves first, and then we will narrow down. So what forcing moves do we have? We don't have any checks. What captures do we have? We've got queen takes b4, queen takes e6, queen takes d5. That's it. In terms of threats, maybe we can try and threaten their queen or something, like rook e7. Maybe rook e8 is an option. Maybe rook e5, like trying to like swing over and take the h1 in some crazy ridiculous way that's never gonna work. Maybe what else can we do? Maybe knight e3 is a threat. It hits the rook or something. I don't know. Lots of moves, right? So okay. Let's look at the captures first. If we take the bishop, knight takes. Surely that's not going to be good. We take the knight, the queen takes. Again, surely not going to be good. Take the rook, the queen takes. Again, I don't think we've got enough for something. So I don't think any of those captures work. So then we need to look at our other threats. Rook e8. Maybe if they take with the rook and we take on e8 and they take with the queen, we pick up the hanging rook on d5. So maybe this is a solution of sorts if we play rook e8. What else can they do? If they take on e1, we take on f8, right? So rook e8 actually looks pretty nice. If rook e8, let's say they play rook d4, well then we take on f8 with check. So rook e8 forces rook takes e8, but rook takes e8 is with check. Here maybe they try like king h7 or something. But I don't really believe in that. We can play queen d5 and we've also stopped the threat. So rook e8, rook e8, rook e8, queen e8, queen takes d5. Does black have anything at the end here? Can they play like queen e1 or something, hitting the knight? Then we can go queen takes h5, king g8, and what happens here? Queen can go back to d5 check. Okay, if they go back to the h file, we've got perpetual, so they have to play bishop, king f8 if they want to avoid perpetual. At the very least, I can play queen c4, protecting my knight. At the very least, I've probably got even more there. So yeah, that's good enough for me. So he goes for this, but this is a check. Oh my god, and there's a bishop I could take it. I thought that was just a free rook. Okay, so unexpected move from our opponent. We need to compose ourselves. We need to find the best move here. So in this position... Okay, so again, forcing moves. So... So again, okay, what... Do we have any checks? No. Okay, we can take on c6, we can take on d4. If we take on d4... Doesn't really do anything. Rook e8. They can take our queen. We can take their bishop with check. They can play king h7. We can take their rook, but... Yeah, I don't really want to play rook and bishop against queen. I don't see anything in that final position either. I guess we can play queen c1 as like bailing out, and we protect our bishop and everything is fine. And what, we stay 2 pawns up as well, so actually this is probably more than okay. Yeah, if that's the case, then that solves our problem. Okay, alternative, which we will take. Is queen e6 working, maybe? In the sense that if rook takes, we hit the knight. Maybe that's another solution. Queen e6 takes. Can they head down? Because then if king g1, they've got bishop c5, right? And this looks really, really uncomfortable. Although we've got bishop e3 at the end and the rook protects the bishop. So maybe this is fine. They don't even give this whole line. Like, I think this is so important to give. Right? This queen takes, rook d1. I feel like, yeah, king g1, bishop c5, you've got to find bishop e3. Otherwise, you're worse. Yeah, I feel like this needs to be given if it is a complete puzzle. But okay, we got another one right. That's good. You gotta wake up in 6 hours? Same, Frizz, same. I gotta wake up early tomorrow. DJ hours again, Michael. Yeah, I know. It's been a tough day. Queen e6 seems better than queen c1 because the queen is more active in these kind of positions. Active moves are important. Interesting. I guess if you can make more trades as well, this is going to be nice. Like, the queen is a little bit passive here, that's for sure. So rook e8, queen d5. Rook c1 fails to rook d1. I didn't even see rook c1, I think, as an idea. Okay, let's keep going. Right. To be honest though, can you guys tell that I am faster? I feel like I'm solving these with more confidence, like, and I think it is these tips. So let's remind ourselves of the tips. We want to look at multiple interesting ideas quickly and try and solve them like a little bit, like not delve into just one line super deep. We also want to look for these candidate ideas that basically either damage the opponent's position, either bring in pieces to the attack, or remove defenders. Like, if we can find forcing moves that do that, then this is ideal, right? So let's go once more. So in this position, queen takes g7 is a check, knight e7 is a check, knight h6 is a check. We've got captures, knight takes g7, we've got knight takes e4. Probably I should have evaluated this position very briefly first, but yeah, we're a pawn down here. We've got this bishop on b2 lining up against the king. Got these knights that can potentially achieve something. Our knight on f5 is being attacked. Okay, so yeah, we've got those moves. Anything else to consider? Any threats that look really, really strong? Maybe knight takes d6 is one as well. So okay, let's go. So queen takes g7, bishop g7. Definitely not enough. Knight h6. Let's look at knight e7 first. It looks so bad. Knight e7, you just lose the knight for nothing. Knight h6. If pawn takes h6, maybe now we can take on e4, and we are threatening nothing. Maybe we're threatening knight f6 check, winning the queen. So knight h6, pawn h6, knight e4. What can they play here? Maybe they can play like rook e6 or something. But then I can still play knight f6 and it looks really strong, right? So how do they actually stop this threat? Knight 6, pawn h6, knight e4. How do they defend knight f6? They can't. They can't defend knight f6. That's very interesting. If they can't defend knight f6, then we may even have the answer already. So knight h6 check, king h8, and then what? But then my knight is immune, and then I just take the free knight on e4, and then I'm winning. So that looks really convincing to me. Yeah, I'm happy. I win the exchange. Let's go. Okay, so yeah, I even looked at this move as well. And this is nothing, right? I just win the exchange. Sweet. Let's go. So yeah, knight g8, knight d5. Okay, good stuff. Yeah, you're much more confident. But as I said in my long message, looking at more lines gets you more familiar with the position, so you'll find moves better and faster and remember them better. Aha. Wrong coordinates, Frizz. Yeah, I understand what you mean, Frizz. So it's all good. It's all good. Then why are you awake? I'm awake because we are here for the grind, Jan. We're here for the grind. We have learned how to solve tactics from the incredible coach that is Frizz, and we are solving some tactics. So let's go. We went from missing a free rook and missing a simple fork to actually seeing stuff. So that's great. Okay, let's go one more. So material is equal. What ideas do we have? Okay, we've got the strong knight on g5, bishop somewhat lining up. Maybe his pieces are a bit congested in the center, so the defense is a little bit weak. So okay, what can we do? Again, let's go one by one. So bishop takes h7 is a check. Okay, that's fine. What captures do we have? We've got knight e6, knight f7, knight h7, queen e6. These are all possible. Do we have any threats? Doesn't really look like the position where a threat's gonna cut it. So okay, let's start with bishop h7, bishop h7. Okay, knight h7. Maybe here we can go knight takes f7 now. If king takes, which is not false, but if king takes, maybe queen takes e6 check, forcing king f8. And then do we have a follow-up here? Feels like I'm kind of missing something. So to be honest, I'm not already going to stop looking at bishop h7. I want to calculate these knight sacrifices instead. So knight takes f7, king f7, if king f7 is played. Queen takes e6 check. Is not the only move. Maybe knight g5 as well is really good. But okay, let's try this. Knight f7, king f7, queen e6 check. King f8 is forced. We can go knight g5, threatening mate on f7. And how do they defend that? They can't. They can only defend it with knight e5, but then I just take pawn takes and it's completely over. It's not completely over actually, because knight f7, king f7, queen e6, king f8, knight g5. I think they can play the move knight e5, preventing the mate. And then if I go pawn takes, they can go bishop d5. Actually, what am I chatting? They can go bishop d5 without sacking the knight. The knight on f6 protects the bishop. So that's a bit awkward. Knight f7, king f7, queen e6, king f8, knight g5, bishop d5. Okay, what other candidates do I have? So knight h7 was one. Don't think it leads anywhere. Knight e6, pawn e6, queen e6. Again, doesn't look like it leads somewhere. Knight f7, king f7. Can I change the moves here? Can I play like knight g5 first? Knight g5 check. If king g8 looks really bad because queen e6 comes with check. King h8 forced. Knight f7. King g8, knight h6, king h8, queen g8, and then you checkmate on f7, smothered mate. So maybe this is promising. Knight f7, king f7, knight g5. King f8 is therefore forced. And then we go knight takes e6 and we win the game. Okay, perfect. But knight f7, the next thing is, okay, we know that king f7 is lost, so knight f7, do we have alternatives? Maybe bishop f3 is an alternative, knight of f7. If they move the queen somewhere, then probably we just take. And this looks really strong. So knight f7, if they take on f3, maybe we can just go knight h6, pawn takes and then take, and just claim that, you know, we've won a pawn and the structure is bad. Yeah, I think this makes sense. I think this I'm happy with. I mean, maybe queen e6. Okay, let's just calculate it for God's sake. Queen e6, does this win? There's no discoveries with the bishop because, again, knight h6 is winning. So what, is queen e6 just lights out? Maybe queen e6, they've got this bishop move again? Then I can give double check. Seems so unnecessary. I would just like to play knight h6 and just win this bishop. Queen e6, bishop d5. But then I can take on d8. They take on e6, I take back and I've won a piece, right? Or have I? No, I haven't won a piece because I've lost a piece over here, but I have won a couple pawns. So maybe that's worth it. In a game, I would just play knight h6, but I think queen e6 is correct. Oh, this is alternative? Oh, and this is just wrong. Bruh, gf3, are you serious? Queen e6, bishop d5, knight d8. Okay, so at least I saw this. This is nice. And okay, gf3 is apparently the move. So okay, gf3. What, queen e6, king f8, and now what? Again, forcing moves. Queen e6 or bishop g6. Queen e6, king f8. Queen e6, king f8, maybe bishop c4? Is that winning? Maybe that's actually winning. That looks really good, actually. Yeah, fair play, fair play. It's just winning. Man. That's a nice tactic. Queen e6 lights out smothered mate. Know your basic checkmate patterns? Yeah, that was a bishop d5. I think that stops the smothered mate. So George says knight f7, king f7, knight g5, king g8, queen e6, king h8, knight f7, smothered mate. Yeah. So I think this knight f7, yeah, they can't take with the king. They have to take on f3. Interesting thing to note, when a knight can take on f7 and another knight can check the king on g5, the knight sack works almost every time. Very interesting. Very interesting. Okay, so Capablanca again, this time getting cooked. White. Okay, let's evaluate the position. Okay, we'll make this the last one. 4, 5, 6. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So we're in exchange for bishop and pawn. Okay, and somehow we've got some pressure on the opponent's king. So okay, let's go one more time. So rook takes a2 check is a forcing move. Do we have any captures? No, not really. We've got rook a3. Rook a3. Is there anything else to consider here? Any other themes in the position? It's candidate ideas that Argard was talking about. Candidate ideas. Any other candidate ideas in this position? Anything of note? Okay, I think at this moment we've got rook a3 and rook takes a2. Let's try one of these. If it doesn't work, then we go back. So rook takes a2. If the king moves, okay, at the very least we've won a pawn. This is good, right? So rook takes a2, queen takes a2 needs to be looked at. And what, just rook a6? Are we not just picking up everything there? How is this even in the intermediate one? This feels so basic. I mean, basically, I can lose like 2 rooks for a queen and pawn, right? I can take him and he can take me. But I take this with check. The king moves, and his king is extremely weak. I don't feel like his pieces are coordinated. Probably I play like b3 or something. I mean, I can calculate it then. I feel so confident that that has to be winning. Yeah, and this is, they don't even give an explanation. Yeah, okay, queen d3. Yeah, it's between queen d3 and b3 here. Which one is stronger? Let's have a very quick look if my intuition was right about b3 also being strong. Okay, yeah, so it's like, I felt like the position was good and calculated Baron Ben. Damn, that was cool. So all I can say, guys, is Frizz, your explanation of the tactics has clearly worked wonders. I have not been able to solve tactics faster for the 25 years that I've been living on this planet. And that discussion we had yesterday, I don't know what exactly... I mean, I guess I do know what exactly was said, right? It really boils down to these three single points, right? When calculate as many short variations as possible quickly before deep diving into anything. Really look at all the forcing moves. Even if they don't look intuitively right, just calculate them, visualize them, and see if something pops out to you then. Also, yeah, like evaluate the position at the start. I think this really helps just understand what's going on. Yeah, and when you're actually calculating these forcing moves, you want to be calculating moves that either disrupt the opponent's position, bring pieces into attack, or remove defenders. And that's literally it. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. The intermediate ones are intermediate, so around 1500-1600 elo. Honestly, Fritz, these have never been easy for me. Absolutely never been easy. But yeah, actually, these last few puzzles, feeling pretty good. Pretty wild. Pretty wild. So we'll see if I can keep this up. I mean, if I do this every day for the next week before Prague, maybe if I even do it during Prague and just do these tactics every day. Could be good, man. Could be good. But on that note, I've got to wake up early tomorrow. This was a good stream. As always, thank you guys all for tuning in. And yeah, let's keep it going. Good stuff, everyone. Okay, see you guys tomorrow. Have a good night.